Okay. So on this one, I want to keep this one short and sweet, I do think. All right. We talk about the three E's of business. All right. We need to estimate what it is we're doing, which is pricing our work. Okay. We need to execute how we estimated that. And then we need to evaluate how we did. Okay. This is a never ending cycle. All right. Evaluation needs to be accurate and timely. All right. And so I remember working at Eidecker Inc. and Paul Eidecker was third generation business owner, and he liked to think business as a game. And I think that's great. And, to expand on that concept, these three elements, you've got to do everything right. You can do all of these things right. And then for unforeseen reasons out of your control, you can still fail. But if business is a game, you've got to do these three things right, and best information wins. Okay. Best information in business wins. What does that mean? So, as we talked about before, it starts and ends with what are we tracking? What is we doing? And we need to standardize our cost codes. All right. And we need it. We'll have a job cost subledger that we have to manage, which is our standardized costs along with our production quantities and our various cost classes. All right. So in the game of business, we're going to talk about all the things you need to manage. For the evaluation piece, you've got to manage your trial balance. All right. Which will then help generate your balance sheet and your income statement. All right. So your accounting function, their first and foremost job for your head accountant is to manage your general ledger, or what you might hear call the trial balance. All right. You have to manage this. This has to be right so that your balance sheet right. We know your income statement is right. The folks in the field that estimate work have to evaluate with your accountants how these various jobs are doing based on budgeted cost to actual, but not only that, billed revenue versus unbilled revenue. But as we think about other things, so your accountant needs to manage that trial balance. But then within that trial balance, you have a payroll process that has to be managed. You've got an AR process that has to be managed, AP. All right, if you're in the logistics business, your AP side could have a lot of trucking stuff that can be its own job that you got to manage. All right, all of these things. And never ever underestimate the amount of human management that has to take place if you're not accounting for things on the front end through your AP process correctly. All right. So from a purely administrative standpoint, there is much, much here to manage. All that needs to be right. All of that needs to be timely so that we can provide this feedback loop to the work that we're doing. How are we estimating it? Are we able to execute the work as cheaply as we think we are? Now, I want to talk about maybe at least one more. So the estimation process, to me, sales and marketing is a subset of that. Okay. Marketing, I'll leave for another day. But on your sales efforts, okay, you want to be a successful sales organization. Why is this a subset of estimate your price? I say it's a subset of this if we're simplifying it all. Because if you do have a good sales function, that can convince other people that they need to come to you. Well, guess what can you do? You can raise your prices. All right. But on that sales process, all right, another data set that we have to manage, your CRM. All right. What do our sales leads look like? What does the pipeline look like? All right. And so this is all more data that has to be managed. All right. So let's step back. All right. Before it begins, we're tracking our sales leads. Salesmen, track your data, manage it. But you'll see here, there is much administration. And if you treat business like a game, you've got to get your estimation part right. You got to get your execution piece right. And your evaluation piece obviously always has to be right. These are the data sets that you need to manage. When it comes down to it, everything through your job cost subledger needs to be right. All right. And oddly enough, small businesses almost never get this piece wrong. They always get this. They don't do this in a nuanced way. They never really know where they're at on a job. And that's the first step to me in ultimate failure. All right. We have to know where we're at on our jobs. So we know what our deferred or our over and under billed revenue is. So we have an accurate picture of our financial health at all times. But in business, to me, best information wins. Okay. Follow the numbers, listen to what the numbers are telling you, but make goddamn sure you have an accountant that's being honest with you about what those numbers are and providing those numbers to you in a timely fashion. All right. They need to be accurate and timely. Your evaluation period shouldn't just be month end close. And I see too many people that can't even reconcile their bank account, let alone generate financials. But this evaluation process and time frame needs to be as short as possible. So if your payroll process is weekly, then your evaluation is weekly. And if you set up your standardized cost codes and track your production quantities against those cost codes in the various classes, then as soon as payroll hits, when labor hours are reported, when your equipment hours are reported, along with production quantities, then that evaluation process, again, should be 1 week. If your job is sales and marketing in the world of best information wins, this is not relevant to you, but you still have a database to manage, okay? And this is crucial to the CFO over here. Okay, we need to know accurately what's in the pipeline, if this is a part of our business, and at what price, because at all times we need to be lowering and raising our prices as needed, okay? One other piece that I haven't hit on yet, if your organization is in the business of utilizing equipment to make money, that is a big piece of the standardized cost codes. And there's a whole session that we need to talk about on managing your equipment. Estimate your price, execute, evaluate, make sure your key employees, all of your employees are operating in a good environment. Okay, best information wins. Treat business like a game. And also these same principles apply to me in life. I think most of us fail because we just don't take the time to evaluate what we're doing. If you want to apply these same principles, replace estimate with goals, okay? Estimation is goals. Execution is practice and play, all right? And then take time to evaluate, all right? Again, I'm starting an indoor baseball training facility. If it goes well as planned, I'll be also helping young boys learn how to play the game. But never underestimate the power of evaluating what you're doing. Set goals, estimate, set goals, execute, evaluate, okay? A lot of us, and I'm too heavy on the evaluation piece, but you know, it's the goal. It's just job number one for the CFO of any organization is to provide an honest assessment of what's going on. So good news or bad news, this evaluation piece has this happen. Best information wins. If you like what this has, if your organization needs help with anything we've talked about, send me a direct message and we'll see what we can do to help you guys out.